Good morning, Octopus. Your maths today, you are representing hundreds as decimals, reasoning and problem solving, and we are checking our skill as our anchor task. So as a quick recap, fill in the gaps in the sentences at the top of the page. Pause the video, write those into your books and fill in the gaps. So we know that 100 is 10 times smaller than a tenth, and therefore 4 100ths are 10 times smaller than 4 tenths. So representing hundredths as decimals. Here in our part whole model we have 12 hundredths, which can be separated into 1/10 and 2 hundredths. So on our deans we could show this as one whole column, which is 1/10, and 2 100. So altogether 12 100ths. On a place value grid then, we have no whole hundredth squares shaded, no holes, but we have 1/10, so one whole column, and 2 hundredths, so two small squares. So as a decimal, that would be 0.12. Let's try this one then. In your books, 21 hundredths, what would that be as a part whole model? How would we show it on our deans? And what would it be as a decimal? Pause the video if you need to. So that would be 2 tenths, 1 hundredths. On our deans, we will be then shading 2 columns and 1 small square, and therefore our decimal is 0.21. Okay, moving on then. Having a further look at representing hundreds as decimals. 13 hundredths. So if I put 13 hundredths into my place value grid, I know that this is made up of 1/10 and 3 hundredths, thinking about my part whole model. So I have 1/10, 3 hundredths, and I don't have any whole numbers, so I'm going to put a placeholder in my ones column, not forgetting my decimal points. So I can clearly see that 13 hundredths as a decimal number is 0.13. Now, if I came across the number 6 hundredths, I have 6 to pop in my hundredths column. Now I don't have any tenths and I don't have any ones. So my number would be 0.06. And finally, my last example, I have 1 whole and I have 4 hundredths, but I don't have any tenths. So I would use a placeholder, and as a decimal number would show this as 1.04. So your anchor task in your books, can you please represent the fractions below as decimals? 72 hundredths, 6 100ths, and 1 whole and 9 hundredths. Then, for your silver test today, you are looking at questions 1, 2 and 3. Can you please fill in the boxes? So you are representing the number as a deans, in words, as a fraction and a decimal. So for example, for the first one, 36 hundredths, I would shade in 36 hundredths, that's 3 tenths and 6 hundredths. I've got it as words, I want to show it as a fraction, so that would be 36 hundredths. And as a decimal, I know it would be represented as 0.36, thinking about my place value. So you would then continue to answer the questions on question 1. And for question 2, you are drawing decimal place value counters to represent each number. So show your place value grid and draw the counters in each column. For question 3, you are matching up the decimals with the counters, and for B, you are writing each decimal as a fraction. For gold then, going into reasoning and problem solving, so this is national standard now, you are telling me whether Rosie is correct that 300s are the same as 300ths. Explain your answer. Think about the way I'm saying those words and think about your place value. And question 5, match the decimals to the descriptions. So some of the numbers can be described in 2 ways. So there are 7 explanations, 7 descriptions that you need to match up to 4 numbers there. And continuing on goal, questions 6 and 7, you are shading 100 squares and discussing how this can be done. And a bit more reasoning and problem solving, who do you agree with in question 7? For platinum, you have some reasoning questions to go through independently or with your family. I'm aware that you can't cut out the cards if you don't have a printer at home, so you could still match them up in your books as a match-up activity rather than cutting and sticking. Any problems, please do let me know and email me at octopus@watersideprimary.org.uk.